All right, hey, welcome back, Space Cowboys, Cowgirls, or whatever you identify as. Welcome back to my channel. This is Rob here, talking more Cowboy Bebop, and today we are on Season 1, Episode 6, or as I like to call it, Session 6, the Binary Two-Step, which is loosely based on the, well, not too loosely, just switching some things around, but definitely a new version of the original Episode 23, Session 23, really, called Brain Scratch, in which they go after a guy named Dr. Landis, who has his, like, ideas that have technology and consciousness and what the consciousness is capable of and downloading consciousnesses into an AI. And in the story, it's more of a Faye thing that has that going on. But everybody's got their part to play, including Radical Ed, who is teased in this episode. So if you know what we're doing here on the channel, make sure you're hitting the like button and subscribe if you're not a subscriber. Join the fun over here. Um, and of course, if you're new to the channel, welcome to the conversation. And all returning subscribers, welcome back. So, okay. So, first things first, I always got to talk about the thing I forgot about the last episode. Not the thing that they forgot, the thing that I forgot, which is I always have something that I seem to like leave on my notes that I forget to talk about. And the thing I want to talk about from last episode, previously on Cowboy Bebop reviews, I want to talk about Spike and Faye showing off their scars just really quick. I thought that was really, really funny. And the first thing that it reminded me of was Lethal Weapon 3. And if anybody doesn't get that reference right away, it's because in that film, Mel Gibson and Rene Russo, their foreplay, their flirting starts with them showing each other how they, the scars that they got and how they almost died. And it just was really fun. And it's not the only time that that's happened, but I think it's probably the most mainstream thing that I can think of people showing off their scars to like, before they get it on. Now, they didn't get it on in that episode, and that kind of continues into this of, well, Faye does get it on with the mechanic working on the B, kind of the B story in here. But that's in here, and if you appreciate that, great. I don't, it's representation of the, LGBTQ community. I don't really care which way Faye or anybody swings, so that's in here. But the main story that we have going on, I really wish in that story though, let me just get to this. I really wish that there was the foreshadowing where the railgun has a payoff. I really wish that when you see a gun that cool and it does get to do something, they get to do something interesting with it. I really wish that, I don't know, there was a better pay. I don't know. It's just me. I wanted to see the railgun more. I want her to have it. But it feels like a one-trick gag. Once you use the railgun, it's kind of its usefulness. But it reminds me of like guns that you make in like Fallout, and I like that. And I want to see guns like. I hope I can get some more guns like that in other video games. But I'm getting off track because the story here is that the ship needs repairs, and this is where we get the Radical Ed hinting at this hacker contacting the Bebop, telling them about this Dr. Landis thing. So Radical Ed is a character from the original anime. I am excited for when they finally get to that character. I love that. I love all the characters on this. But once Ed arrives on the scene, we will finally get our full crew on the Bebop, and that's going to be exciting. Hopefully, I haven't watched all these episodes yet, so whenever we get to it, or if it's, because I've seen images, but I don't know if the character is in any actual episodes, or if it's just a tease. But the real story, again, here is about Spike and Julia, and it's this plot device that they use in this of a VR loop is a way for Spike to deal with some things from his past, but doing it in an interesting way. But to be honest, this is probably the weakest episode, even though it has, for me. If you love this episode, more power to you. I like this episode just fine. But of the 6 that I watched, this is probably my least favorite. But like I said, there's a lot of interesting ideas here. So they go to find Dr. Landis to get some money to the fixing of the ship. And Spike ends up in a machine that puts him inside his own mind that is run by an artificial intelligence that wants to consume his consciousness and upload it, killing him. There is the funny reference of that this place that he goes to. Why can't I think of the word I'm thinking of? The phrase that they have that in the wow, I am like having a brain fart. I guess I'll say motto. No. Like if this was a movie, the tagline for this company, wow, company. I was going a long way to try to remember the word company. That this company has is "Free Your Mind, the Rest Will Follow," which is a reference to the En Vogue song from 1992. I thought that was really clever and interesting. And man, that is a pull. That is a pull. It's not like it's not a famous song, but wow, they really pulled from the past for that one. Well, what happens is Spike gets caught in a loop where he is over and over running into Julia, and since the machine basically has access to all his memories, it is trying to get him to free himself of the emotional tether that he has so that it can consume him and upload him and kill him in the process. Now, in the end, do we really know what happens if he were to go in and where that would go? And I think the anime did a pretty good job of going into more detail about what's happening here, even if it still kind of leaves it up to you of what the final fate of these people that are in this machine is. But it's a way for Spike to kind of deal with the emotions that the show is actually trying to present with us, because Julia now knows that Spike / Fearless is alive. Julia's making her moves and with Vicious to take over the syndicate from the elders, but Spike doesn't know this. But it's kind of like a twofold thing of a way to tell two stories at once, in a way, to me. So he won't let Julia go. He keeps fighting for her while the AI is trying its darndest to use the memories that it has of Julia and everything that Spike has done in his past to get him to give up. I also really like how every time he comes back, it starts to look worse and worse in the world. It looks very much like how they used to try to make things look in the 90s. Like if they were trying to make things look futuristic or like you were in virtual reality. It looks like, if you've ever seen the movie Strange Days with Ralph Fiennes, Juliette Lewis, Tom Sizemore, some of that stuff kind of looks like that. It's very dated looking, but I love that they chose to make it very dated looking instead of making it look completely perfect. I like that it's almost like degrading each time that he comes back. And throughout this loop, though, we get to hear more about what Spike was about, because we see Spike at the beginning of this series. We feel like he's our hero. He's a bounty hunter. He's got a rough edge, but he seems to always do the right thing. But what we're finding out more and more about his past is that he's done some pretty terrible things, and that he's got a lot of blood in his hands, just like Vicious is, except Spike is now free of all that because they think they killed him, and so he's just kind of starting over. But throughout this, this show is kind of slowly, pulling him back into that world. It's the eventual pulling him back into that world to face his past. And that's really that happens in this to me. We have them having to go to Earth, which is another big thing. We have not seen Earth in this. That's another part of the show where we talk about the destruction of Earth. It's not blown up, but, you know, we're not really doing the Earth any favors right now in the real world. So they have to go there. They're not looking forward to it. But that's where the mainframe is to turn off the AI before Spike is uploaded. And that's where they get the chance to use the railgun. Again, I really like the idea of the magnetic gun that can use like a bobby pin to fire like a magnetic bullet through things. That was really cool. But it's resolved pretty quickly. It ends pretty quickly. The day is saved. The doctor who was running the company just kind of shows up, like there to try to stop it. He's also working with Radical Ed. That was sent there too, and now they're just pissed at Radical Ed for sending them there. So I feel like they're if and I don't like using the word filler because this wasn't filler. It's a more of a character stuff goes on in this. It doesn't really further the plot of the full story, even though a lot of these are, they're not procedural, but they're just a story, a different story, and we slowly move the plot behind the scenes further in some of these episodes where we deal with the Julia story, where we can tell, that the syndicate stuff that's happening is going to finally catch up to our heroes on the Bebop. Or anti-heroes, I should say, more like on the Bebop. So, if you like this episode, I mean, it's got good character work, but I still feel like it was the least entertaining. And I think with the concepts they had going on here, there was a lot that they could have done. And it was still interesting. I still liked it. But hey, I mean, it's hard to make a show that's a series, not all the episodes are home runs in any show. Very few shows are perfect. And for me, this one just fell a little short of how good the other ones have been so far. So anyway, that's my take. We'll be back with more Cowboy Bebop. We've only got 4 more episodes to go. So we should be getting done with that by the middle of next week. So if you like this review, please hit the like button, comment, share, subscribe, hit the bell for all notifications. Otherwise, I'm going to go watch some other stuff for the day and take a little bit of break from Cowboy Bebop. So have a good one. See you later, Space Cowboys and Cowgirls. We'll see you on the next one.